I'm the commish. Let me be the first to welcome everyone back to the NATI'S Finest Fantasy Football League. We're all proud here at the NATI'S Finest Studios. This is our 5th year broadcasting live. We couldn't be more excited about the upcoming season. It's shaping up to be a competitive one. We're only 1 week away from the kickoff game between the Giants and the Cowboys, and only hours away from draft night. Hope all the league managers out there have been putting in a lot of off-season work, studying, seeing who's going to produce this year, also seeing who's going to bust this year. I hope you have your picks lined up. Before getting into the report, I think we all need to take some time out and give some props to the champ last year. His friends call him BK. You all know him as the whole fucking show. As you know, he was a newcomer to the league last year, making it all the way to the chip on the back of Ray Rice and Megatron, aka Mr. Madden Cover, aka Calvin Johnson. Big up, my friends. You've earned it. A small piece of me also wants to give a shout out to the other newcomer, the Rook. He did make it to the Super Bowl. He made it to the chip, only to fall a bit short. I know you've tasted that sweetness of the chip. Question is, can you get back there? All right, that's all I wanted to shout out for him. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with a word from our sponsor. It's the commish, NATI'S Finest Studios.
What are you doing here?
Gentlemen, I've made a decision on your trade.
Dave? What are you talking through? That thing's awesome.
I've made a decision.
Your trade's approved. You get Johnson, Kevin, you get Jones-Drew.
Is that your mom? Hey, Carol.
Heel out.
Start your league at ESPN.com/fantasyfootball.
And we're back. I'm the commish. This is the NATI'S Finest Studios and the preseason report. Let's get into some new rules, regulations, and procedures of the league this year. Starting off with number 1, the division. We had a lot of dispute last year coming down to the playoffs. You know, the bracket doesn't fill out according to the East or West division or AFC, NFC, whatever conferences you have. This year, we're only going to have one division, 12 teams, one division, top 8 make it, plain and simple. If there is a tiebreaker at the end of the season, we all know it's going to be either points force or head-to-head record, and this can be voted on and will be voted on draft night by the league managers. Next, the flex position. New rule this year is a big rule. The flex position, as you know, only included a running back or wide receiver. With the high production of tight ends across the board last year, not including Gronkowski and Graham, there's still a lot more out there that are being a lot more productive than wide receivers and some running backs. That's why this year the flex will include a tight end. So you have 3 positions you can fill out the flex position: a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end. Enough said. Number 3, free agents. New and improved way to pick up free agents this year. Last year, if you wanted a guy, you had to wake up basically at 4 o'clock in the morning, hope you were the first one to hit submit when you wanted the free agent. This year, it's going to be more of a first come, first serve system. Basically, what you're going to do is log on to the website, go on the message board, and basically fill out the message board saying who you want to drop and who you want to pick up, and the league commissioner, myself, will go on there and make the transaction for you. However, if it's game day, if it's Sunday morning, Thursday, before game, and you want to make a quick transaction, the old way is, it's there as well. So you can do it the old way. If you want to pick somebody up, let's say, for instance, Sunday, 2 o'clock, someone gets hurt, you notice, and you're online, go to the website, write on the message board, I'll do the transaction, you'll have them. Plain and simple. Excuse me. Next, defensive and special teams points. Some of the league managers called me up in the offseason, expressed some concern about the special teams and defense points scored. Basically, they were complaining if a team puts up 30, maybe even 40 points, they're still putting a whole lot of defensive fantasy points up. I certainly agree, turnovers, sacks are all points, but this can be further discussed on draft night. I'm not at liberty to say what we're going to do we'll see what other league managers want, and we'll go from there. Number 5, just some miscellaneous items. You know, the commish here at the Natty's Finest Studios, we want to accommodate to a whole broad range of the managers out there. So if you have any requests, proposals, possible changes, bring them up on draft night. The league managers will discuss, and ultimately the commish will have the final say, but it's up for vote. You know, it's a democracy here. With that said, we'll be right back with the closing statements. It's the commish, Natty's Finest Studios.
Starting defense, placing the table.
Looks like Joe's coming around. He should be ready for Saturday.
Place the table. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You think we ought to tell Coach?
Hell no, you don't want to know about this.
Yeah. Make sure you tell Latimer that the NCAA will be testing on Saturday.
Yeah, baby. Starting defense.
Welcome back. In closing, I'd like to ask a few questions that stem from a few trends last year, which may or may not carry over into this season. If you bear with me, I got a few of them, and let's go. Number 1, will there be a trade on draft night? You know, it's a great question. We had a huge blockbuster deal last year between Franchise and them boys. Everyone's probably heard about it enough. Franchise sending Romo and AP to them boys for A-Rod and Darren McFadden. You know, I can say who won in the trade, who lost. No one really won. Both were knocked out early in the playoffs, so, you know, I don't think it worked out for either of them, if you ask me. Next question. Will any team on draft night draft 3 or more tight ends? It happened last year. You know, I'm not calling anybody out the rook, but it did happen. Last year, you know, you were only allowed to start 1 tight end and you drafted 3. We'll see. We got 2 tight end positions this year. What happened? I don't know. The next one. Are the Wildcats going to be able to make a trade finally? You know, everyone knows it's like pulling teeth trying to trade these guys. Last year, for example, he had 3 highly productive quarterbacks. Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. All very productive. Couldn't work out a deal with any other team. I think you need to lower your standards a little bit if you ask me, but, you know, who am I to judge? I'm just the commissioner. Next one. You know, I harped on it a lot last year. 100 points. 100 points. You have to be at the 100-point level to win from week to week. That was the number you wanted to hit to at least have a good chance if, you know, you had a couple players from another team playing on Monday night. If you had 100 points, you felt pretty comfortable about winning. I think that number is going to be a little bumped up. I think it's going to be more 110, 115 this year, just by the broad range of talent. There's a lot of new quarterbacks out there putting up big numbers. There's a lot of wide receivers out there putting big numbers. I think it's just going to be a higher number this year. Maybe, like I said, 110, 115. But we'll see. And last but not least, who will be this year's top free agent acquisition? Last year, no question, Laurent Robinson for them boys. Easiest call. 10 touchdowns in 12 games. Started from week number 2 on through the season. Only advice I can give you, make sure your team's always in the market for a possible pickup like this one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's about wraps up the preseason report. I'll obviously be back next week and the following weeks with guests, league managers. You know, we'll take some questions live from the hotline. And, you know, I just like to wish good luck to all the managers. Happy fantasy football season. And may the odds be ever in your favor. It's the commish, Natty's Finest Studios.